Ambazonians, I want to remind una, say for this Ambazonian war for liberation, now two people them where evidence they when at their own confession say they don't take money for La Republique to Cameroon. When you take La Republique money, it means say you do work for them. They send you do things for them. No doubt we wanna see Chris Anu, he invite people like Nambere when are traitors, and now we hear say Clovis for come invite them for interview them. You wanna for give access to them, to our people, their minds and their ears, so that they feel deceive our people them for fall for La Republique. Once again, we're gonna hear for your own mob, he admission, say he and Sakho, they will not enter into an arrangement with the Cameroon government in exchange for money for them, for work for them. We're gonna listen.
But one thing I know, Mimi Mefo, is the CDC deal. Dr. Samuel Ikome Sakho cannot say it did not exist because I took it to him. I'm going to end it there.
Mr. Vice President, the Honorable Speaker of the Interim House of Representatives, members of government, county and local government executives, civil society leaders, supporters and sympathizers at home and abroad, including those assigned to monitor our activities, fellow Ambazonians. Let us observe a moment of silence for all innocent civilians killed by French Cameroon since the beginning of this conflict in 2017, from the Ngabu massacre to the CDC Mondoni massacre, and those who are being massacred by lone wolves, so-called La République du Cameroon Special Forces, and their despicable proxies passing for vigilantes, with the hope that they succeed to tag the Ambazonian struggle as organized terrorism. Let's not forget our valiant ARFs who are doing a phenomenal job to defend our people facing annihilation. A moment of silence, please. May their souls rest in power. My people, I love the Savannah Zonal Command made up of Ngoketunjia, Bui, Boyo, Menchum, and Dogamatu. Fellow Ambazonians, we are hosted today by the people and warriors of these 5 great counties in recognition for their place in this struggle. The first in any order is a reference and a standard for others. That's why it is not easy to be in the first position. I commend all our dynamic county chairs and LGA executives and patriots here present for their exemplary mobilization and hospitality. Thank you for your kind words of welcome. I want to salute all our genuine, brave Ambazonia Restoration Forces, the community gatekeepers of the Savannah Zone, especially our FM, Major Generals, and Generals for their leadership, loyalty, and dedication to defend Ambazonia. We stand together, blood by blood, till freedom comes. Let me answer some questions about the creation of these zones and make it very clear. The zones were demarcated by a presidential decision in 2020, not as administrative units. These are defense provinces or zones demarcated for the sole purpose of coordination, integration, and ultimate transition of our self-defense forces into a true national army. The Commander-in-Chief has the power to create command infrastructure. However, for these zones to become administrative units in future, it will be by an act of the Interim House of Representatives. Each zone is headed by a zonal commander appointed and vetted by the IHR. Our county authorities are still the highest administrative authorities in their respective counties. We are here again gathered by our faith in the Ambazonian spirit. As a people fighting an existential war, our lives are a nightmare. But such are the pains of a heroic mother at delivery. There is nothing more precious than the promise of baby Ambazonia. Even the blood of those who are being massacred daily in Ambazonia by La République du Cameroon may only water the fields of our freedom, but will never stop us from fighting. La République du Cameroon thought their old Maquisard strategy of calling us names, manipulating some people against their own true liberators, misrepresenting our struggle as begging for our own share of their national cake, will work this time. They want the world to believe that our struggle is a loud agitation for administrative handouts from their slaughter slabs in Eturi. Unfortunately, some otherwise enlightened ones amongst us agree with them and are helping them to try to stop us. I have bad news for all of them. Ambazonia is a spirit that cannot die. It haunts its killers, dishonors its mockers, disgraces betrayers, and outlives its naysayers. Only those who have understood this reality shall thrive till Boya. Those who do not understand it shall perish with the wind, but Ambazonia shall triumph. Fellow warriors, we have drafted for 3 years, prosecuted the APP strategy for the 3 years on all 3 tiers. We now have a balance sheet before us. We have seen the flaws in our funding and fighting strategies as the war progresses. Many things have changed, including on our side as well as the enemy's side. The fight we fought in 2017 is not the fight we are fighting today. The configuration of the war on the ground is changing daily. In martial arts, we observe that if you continue to do the same thing while your enemy is changing stance and positions and is constantly moving, you will most certainly lose the fight. What we want to do this year as the central government is to move in and fix whatever is not working well according to our strategy, so we can improve on our execution generally. We want to improve on the net amount of money going into the struggle, effectively manage our scarce resources and avoid hoarding of our critical resources, improve on the redemption rate at the county and local government and federal levels, and strategically assist in planning our national response plan through our central command from a central budget. We want to foster intra-zonal coordination of our defense projects from our central command with a focus on all 3 command zones. Let me thank the Savannah Zone for hosting the federal government grand opening of the 2023 federal draft. Our golden rule at the central government this year for this draft is, if you welcome me with a chicken, I will welcome you with a goat when you visit me. So, county chairs, do to this federal draft what you will want the federal government to do in your zone. Proud comrades from the Savannah Zone, your participation is being recorded this day. Show us that you support the federal government to play a more significant role in the organization and management of our liberation effort, so that those who escape the sword of the LGA shall fall by the sword of the county, and those who escape the sword of the county shall surely die by the sword of the central command. It is only logical that he who stands to be blamed every time we fail should play a more pivotal role in the organization and decisions that move our struggle. And that person is the central government. Something is wrong if we raise all the money for others to manage projects, but when things fall apart or fail in their hands, we are blamed, not them. It is better we do the fixes now, make necessary corrections and adjustments, and adjust our operations than for the central government to continue watching from a distance and take all the blame for something that is not really working as we desired. The configuration of our funding strategy going forward is the result of many fixes we hope to implement for the good of our revolution. We will now draft all around the year. We will draft federal and county and local government, and the federal government is going to be empowered to be more present in the home front and provide leadership and guidance to our self-defense forces, zone by zone and nationally. We should fulfill better the original plan of empowering the three pillars of our self-defense apparatus: local government, counties, and the central government. Today is the launching of the 2023 draft by the federal government. The new and enlarged Coalition for Surrender are busy stealing actions they know nothing about in the home front, just to get some relevance. Their game will soon land them into big trouble. But like vultures, they are surely watching us eagerly tonight to see when we take our last breath in this struggle. They salivate every time we gasp for oxygen, predicting our end at every turn of events. They congregate in execution chambers, hoping to announce our final obituary. Many times they have published our funerals and built our graves, hoping we truly die. They have reduced the size of their own struggle to a prayer for our doomsday to come quickly. They have said to themselves, the reason why they are failing is because the IG is still in the fight to free Ambazonia, meaning the interim government and not La République du Cameroon in their corrupt minds is the enemy. But the spirit of Ambazonia is undying. It is stubborn. It is wiser than their machinations. It is sharper than their deal makers in prison or CDC. It is eternal and indestructible. That is why we continue to survive. We want to tell those people or these people who are probably hired to destroy the interim government, these converts of the Esingan cult, contractors of La République CPDM killer regime, that the solution may come through a genuine mediated settlement, not some backdoor deals. We shall or we should know that these spoilers are probably watching us tonight just to see if their prayers to the devil have been answered or not. So let us answer them in the best way we can by drafting our best to the federal government for acceleration. Dear financial warriors, La République du Cameroon and their agents in the diaspora are trying to play mind games. They are using the boogeyman strategy so you don't contribute to the struggle for fear of being branded terrorists. Don't mind them. The US is not a banana republic. Just imagine if Dr. Foncha, Augustine Gumjoa, Mulan Jolitube, Dr. EML Endeli were alive today. What about Barrister Ben Muna of blessed memory, who encouraged Ambazonians to fight? Do you think the spirit of these men will be on my side or on the side of the one Cameroon corrupt machine? They will surely be standing by me, by us, squarely. And can you imagine if Ahijo or Bia would have had the guts to call Foncha or Joa a terrorist or secessionist? Who is terrorizing who? And who is seceding from what? What a bully our equal has become. When the Southern Cameroon government delegation went to Fumban, they were not terrorists. They were equals with La Republique. When La République du Cameroon forcefully dissolved our institutions effectively in 1966, we were not terrorists because we did not fight back. When La République du Cameroon subjected us to 60 years of Kale, we were not terrorists because we did not fight back. When La République du Cameroon cracked down on the SCNC, SCAPO, and SCAM militants, we were not terrorists then because we did not fight back. When they used helicopter gunships to kill innocent Southern Cameroon's Ambazonians, protesters, in September 2017, we were not terrorists then because we did not fight back. But when Biya declared war on us on November 30th, 2017, and proceeded to burn down our villages and murder our people in droves, arrested and abducted our people, and we decided to resist them, La République du Cameroon started calling us terrorists because, in their sick logic, self-defense is terrorism. So we, the victims, should surrender and get killed if we don't want to be called terrorists? Please don't be bullied to withhold your contribution to help defend our victims of genocide. Money itself is not a legacy. It is what you do with it that becomes a legacy or not. The greatest legacy is a living legacy, which is what you did for others in need. 8 million people are in need of freedom and survival from genocide. Let's make them our living legacy. After we are gone, generations of Ambazonia shall remember us not by how much we have or we had in the bank for our children, but by how much we did for others to better their lives. The greatest souls on earth are selfless souls. Fellow Ambazonians, let no one deceive you. We are the Ukraine of Africa. The whole world is drafting for Ukraine. Many of us are even donating to free Ukraine. Earlier today, I donated $50 to the Ukrainians to help them defend themselves from annexation. Governments around the world, led by the United States, are donating billions of dollars to help Ukraine defend themselves. This is a constitutionally protected activity in the United States. My neighbor, an ex-military man, probably a Ukrainian in the United States Army, recently traveled to Ukraine to join the Ukrainian People's Army to fight and liberate their land from annexation. Can you call him a terrorist? No. According to US law, my donation to Ukraine or Ambazonia is not funding terrorism. It is, if anything, a heroic humanitarian effort to save the oppressed and defend fundamental freedoms. Those of you who think Ambazonians are doing the wrong thing by funding their own resistance, can you please tell me the difference between what we are doing for Ukraine and what Ambazonians are doing or should do for Ambazonia, apart that, or the fact that Ambazonians are blacks and Ukrainians are whites? There's no iota of a difference. Here are some glaring similarities between Ukraine and Ambazonia. Number one, Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia was a sovereign people colonized by German, then administered by Britain as a UN trust territory. Ambazonia entered into a failed union with La République du Cameroon. Ukraine, on the other hand, was a sovereign nation, in fact, one of the founders of the United Nations in 1945. Ukraine had entered into a union with Russia, the so-called Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Number 2, the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia gained her independence in October 1st, 1961, as an independent nation. Ukraine gained her independence in August 24, 1991, as an independent nation. Number 3, La République du Cameroon annexed Ambazonia in 1961. Russia annexed Ukraine in 2014 from Crimea. La République du Cameroon declared a full-scale war against Ambazonia on November 30, 2017. Russia declared a full-scale war on Ukraine on February 20, 2022. Ambazonians have mobilized their people at home and in the diaspora to help resist the occupation and free Ambazonia from La République's annexation. Ukraine too has mobilized their people at home and in the diaspora to help resist the occupation and free Ukraine from Russian annexation. And number 6, Ambazonian genuine ARFs and supporters are not terrorists. So too Ukrainian soldiers and genuine fighters are no terrorists. There is genocide in Ambazonia. Number 7, and there is genocide in Ukraine. Number 8, Ambazonia is defending herself with the support of her diaspora. Ukraine is defending herself with the support of the Western world and her diaspora. And number 9, La République du Cameroon is trying to break Ambazonia into factions and groups to recolonize Ambazonia. So too Russia is trying to break Ukraine into pieces to recolonize them. The day the Congress of America will classify support for our Ambazonia's legitimate liberation efforts as terrorism is the day America will agree to classify support for Ukraine or Israel as terrorism. Like Ambazonia, these are countries that are defending themselves from enemies that undermine their statehood and have sworn to annihilate them. La République du Cameroon, by refusing to dialogue with the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, preferring the military option to addressing our political demands, have made up their mind to annihilate Ambazonia. We must fight till the last man standing. But Ambazonia has risen to fall no more. La République du Cameroon tried bribing our stakeholders. It failed. They tried incarcerating our innocent people and leaders. It failed. They tried a grand national monologue in order to impose their will on Ambazonia. It failed. They tried to divide, despise, and bypass the interim government. It failed. They have disappeared and killed more than 50,000 of our people. That too has not stopped us. They tried their famous divide and rule wizardry. It failed. They tried painting Ambazonians as terrorists by organizing massacres daily that they can blame on Ambazonia restoration forces. It also failed. They truncated our history, miseducated our people, and fed us with lies for 60 years. It failed. I have bad news for La République du Cameroon, though, and the house slaves supporting their annexation of our beloved country. It is right there staring at us on our national flag. It looks like Noah's dove. Once it came out from that ark, it kept on flying. Food or no food, on the land or the water, but it never went back despite the chaos and desolation without. Ambazonia is truly free. ARFs of the Savannah Command, this is your draft. Every dime we draft here today shall be put at your disposal for major strategic projects. If you are not fighting for an individual, then you are fighting for Ambazonia. This is your draft here. If you are not killing your fellow ARFs or the population, but you are fighting La République du Cameroon, then this is your draft here. If your struggle is to go to Buea and not to Yaoundé through some back doors, then 2023 is your draft year. If you stand for this equal status and not the special status, then this is your draft. Reach out to us through your county defense officers and your county executives, and we will respond to you as the government. Those who want to fight as individual private militias, paying allegiance to obscure groups or individuals, should know that the umbrella that gives us the legitimacy internationally is our interim government. You cannot say you reject La République du Cameroon government and not be under any government. That will mean you are not Ambazonian or you are not an Ambazonian soldier. You are an unidentified gunman or militia. Soldiers belong to the state and are therefore under the authority of the government. The title gunman or militia has a criminal undertone. Our struggle is a legitimate one. The legitimacy of the Ambazonian struggle is captured in 4 sentences. Number 1, Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia was a nation granted independence in 1961 by the United Nations in a manner that led La République du Cameroon to annex us instead. Number 2, our Southern Cameroon's Ambazonian government and institutions were dissolved by the annexationist La République du Cameroon. We restored our independence and our government institutions that were dissolved by the annexationists. And number 4, Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, our restoration forces are now defending our right to exist as a people by resisting the occupier. As ARFs, you are involved in a legitimate liberation endeavor that cannot be criminalized by the sane international political system. Following this logic, you are all covered under international law. But when you are not under a government, you are not under any verifiable authority. The world fears those who carry guns yet are not under constituted authority. The world will not gravitate towards a people in the hands of unidentified gunmen. They will rather recognize a nation in the hands of a strong constituted authority. Those who don't want to recognize this elementary fact are wasting our time in this struggle. The interim government is here to make a peaceful resolution of this conflict or our recognition a reality and a true possibility. My dear ARFs, we are so proud of you. Please help us shorten our journey by dealing wisely with the crazy talkers in the diaspora and the $100 callers and video makers deceiving some of you, trying to buy your loyalties. 1 year after they said they have rescued the revolution, ask them to show you their achievements apart of singing Sakho, Sakho, Sakho. They thought Ambazonians are fools. But dear Ambazonians, let this draft bring us together. Let us forget our little differences and stop fighting each other to the detriment of Ambazonia. Because the bullets and armored cars in Bamali, Zekwa, or Ndop make no difference. Let us help our forces because we have no better way to stop these killers of our children and kindred. Let us unite forces because if the IG fails, we all fail. If the IG succeeds, we all succeed. Don't give away what you have for what you only see on television. The interim government is the key player in the Ambazonian struggle, whether you like the interim government or not. If the interim government is not here today, the field will be occupied by talkers and takers. That will be the end of organized leadership and resistance as we know it. The Yaoundé process will be the only option left. And that is what the spoilers are aiming at. If you know another viable player doing more than the interim government in the Ambazonian struggle today, tell us. Otherwise, You are limiting our strength by withholding your contributions to the interim government. The federal government needs your full draft today to fund our national strategic plan in the 3 zonal commands. I will personally supervise the execution of this national strategic security plan. We will not store your money when our warriors have needs. If we don't know where to get materials, we shall put the money in the hands of our trusted generals. It is better for our generals to eat that money and die than for us to keep the money and they get killed for lack of materials. Our soldiers should not go hungry when there is money in the bank. Our wounded volunteers should not go unattended when there is money in the bank. Our soldiers should only lack material or critical resources if there is absolutely no money in our accounts. God forbid that a loyal soldier is killed in battle for lack of material because we are holding to money that was raised to fund them. There should be no sleeper cells again in our revolution, from Dongamantu to Goketunja to Fako, no counties with no genuine ARF activities. Listen, it is not going to happen if you give us our money to this federal government and also to your counties and LGAs later this year. 2023 is the year for a make or mar in this revolution. Give us what it will take to push La Republic out of our territory and make La Republic the first nation to recognize Ambazonia by leaving our territory. That is why the federal government is coming into the fight full time this year. We shall be drafting monthly till December 2023. Fight without season should mean draft without season. Viva our valiant ARFs. Viva the free people of Ambazonia. God bless.